Some developments overnight around ChatGPT parent company OpenAI. Sam Altman officially back as CEO, and Microsoft now securing non-voting board seat there. Deirdre Bosa is at the heart of Silicon Valley for today's Tech Check, the Wonder Cove Summit in Menlo Park, California, with a special guest, former NSA Director Mike Rogers. Deirdre.
Yes, indeed. Tyler, thank you very much. Mike Rogers, Admiral Mike
Good
Rogers,
to be here,
great
Deirdre.
to have
Thanks.
you. You have an interesting perspective on all of this, being in the government for so long, yet here on Sand Hill Road, iconic place in Silicon Valley, the conversation at Wonder Cove this morning has been all about artificial intelligence, the benefits and the risks. So I wonder from you, what role does government have to play in the development or the regulation of AI, if at all?
So look, government clearly normally concerned about the safety and well-being of its citizens, also concerned about the regulatory or the competitive business aspects of this. So I think there's a role to be played. The challenge is, what is that role and how does it develop it or execute it? Because part of the challenge is most of this technology is being developed in the private sector.
Yeah.
Out here and other places, government doesn't have much expertise, much knowledge about it, is not playing a significant role in its development, and yet the government has a significant potential regulatory role to play here. So it's going to be about the power partnership. How do we work together, government and the private sector?
And yet it feels like we're waiting for the two to collide. Generative AI and a presidential election next year. You were director of the NSA during the 2016 presidential election. How do you view the upcoming one? Do you think that this is a more perilous position in terms of misinformation and disinformation?
So clearly technology is enhancing the ability to mislead, misinform, and quite frankly attempt to manipulate or sway opinion based on false information, false images. So you have to acknowledge that's a dynamic. Now, there's a lot of work ongoing to try to mitigate that, try to make sure it doesn't have a significant impact. In 2016, for the first time, we really watched social media really used at a significant level, as well as cyber to attempt to manipulate the outcome. Our view at the time was it didn't work, but we acknowledged, hey, look, this is a level of effort out of the Russians we haven't seen before with a level of technology. So I think there's a lot of focus for 24. I'm comfortable that we're going to have an election process that we as citizens can all believe in. I'm sure there'll be challenges, but in the end, I think we'll get through it.
That sounds pretty optimistic.
I am an optimistic person by background.
You mentioned the Russian interference in the 2016 election. There was a report from Meta today that says that China is an increasing source of covert influence and disinformation campaigns. They said that could get supercharged by advances in generative AI. What do you think voters, the government, et cetera, need to know about that interference? What does that tell you?
So clearly we need to try to make sure we understand it. We need to try to work hard to identify what is accurate, what is not accurate. You see this now, particularly so when we implement AI, for example, are we going to define products that have been generated by AI so that a consumer understands, okay, this is artificially generated, so to speak. There's lots of tools like that we're going to be looking at. In the end, as individuals, we just need to learn to be more discerning. Just because you see something or read something, that doesn't mean it's accurate, true, or correct.
Right, so the responsibility for deep fakes, right, maybe on the companies that are helped to produce them. But what about, for example, a TikTok, right, which is a Chinese company, and of course, DC, where you have operated for a long time, has been worried about that. How big is that threat of TikTok in the upcoming election?
For example,
have we done enough, too?
We worried about TikTok from two perspectives, I think. One was manipulation, propaganda, disinformation. The second was extraction of data based on the interface with customers that we have. Both of those issues are very valid concerns. I think there's ways for companies to address them, but part of the challenge here is the Chinese model fundamentally allows the Chinese government, under the national security laws, the latest of which they just amended earlier this year. Basically, if the Chinese government says there's a national security implication, they can access anything that they want associated with the Chinese company. And so my view is we have to build strategies that acknowledge that and account for that.
So not just an all-out ban. You think that there's ways of accomplishing that without
my
banning?
view is, look, we probably are going to need to be a little bit more nuanced here. So, for example, we might say, well, we're not going to allow this technology to be used by government individuals. It's not going to allow this technology to be used in sensitive or classified areas. On the other hand, there's parts of it where I would say, look, we should feel comfortable as society using it for some things.
I want to ask you more broadly about the U.S. China relationship. I know that you were watching APEC, which was not far from here in San Francisco just a few weeks ago. How has that relationship changed? I mean, it felt like they put a floor. That was sort of the talking point under the relationship. Did you see any significant ways in which that has changed? Is that going to be lasting? Do you see the relationship getting better?
So first, I think both parties have come to the conclusion, I don't speak for the government, but and I was just in Beijing, coincidentally, about 10 days ago. My takeaway is that both governments, China and the United States, have come to the conclusion that we need to build a strong floor. And what I mean by that is we don't want this relationship to get worse, and we don't want this relationship to be disrupted so significantly that it either has significant economic dimensions that are harmful to one or both parties, or we don't get into an inadvertently crisis or fight, Taiwan or some other scenario. So you saw them talk about where they feel that we are compatible or united. What you didn't hear them talk about was, so what are the issues that are still out there where we fundamentally disagree? I think they both came to the conclusion for right now, we're going to focus on the positive, not so much on the negative. There's two things that I'd be watching for, though, that I think China will be, in particular, be very interested in. Taiwan election will be held January the 13th. A new leader will then actually assume office in May, and we have our own election in November of 24. And that the Chinese will be paying great attention to both events.
And you brought it full circle. Thank you for that. Always great to get your insights,
Thanks,
Admiral
Deirdre.
Mike Rogers. Guys, I'll send it back to you over at headquarters.
Deirdre, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.